After 3 hard months in lockdown, patience is wearing thin. It's night time in a poor neighborhood, and whistling protesters are running through the darkened streets. The protests are led by opposition youth members, who say this lockdown is being used as a cover for a crackdown. Fadzai Mahere is the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance's spokesperson.
They're being used as an excuse by the government to further shrink the democratic space. We look first at the attempt to curtail by-elections. We look secondly at livelihoods. We also look at the right, for example, to demonstrate. All these aspects are being curtailed.
Recently, 3 MDC female officials say they were abducted, tortured and sexually assaulted after organizing a protest. They were arrested and charged with lying and violating lockdown regulations, and spent 3 weeks in prison before being released on bail. The lockdown has also laid bare the economic cracks.
You won't believe we used to buy this for $1, now we are buying them for $74.
In a downtown supermarket, one woman complains about the price of tomatoes. The shelves here are fully stacked with goods, but the customers' trolleys are near empty.
Prices keep rising. I don't know where all this is going or how it will end.
I could afford to buy meat for my children, now I can't even buy meat for them. It's hard.
Just in the last few months, inflation has risen dramatically to 785%. And just looking at the prices around me, a 2 kg packet of rice that in November cost 40 local dollars is going for 170. Maize meal, a staple food here that used to cost $150, is now 5 times more. Above the checkout counters hangs a portrait of a smiling President Emerson Mnangagwa. He swept to power with the help of the military. Now, after close to 3 years in office, he looks ever more on shaky ground. His economic policies are failing, and the local currency is once again crashing. The government believes it's a victim of economic sabotage, and the opposition claims of abductions, part of a regime change agenda. Nick Mangwana is the government spokesperson.
It's a ridiculous pay act that we're dealing with. So yes, they were calculated to besmirch the image of government. Things are not looking good economically, but we are not scapegoating. It's a reality that every country is suffering because of COVID-19. And why would Zimbabwe be an exception? It's also a reality that most countries, especially developing countries, were supported by the multilateral institutions. Zimbabwe is an exception.
The economic crisis that was evident before the coronavirus pandemic is now worsened by the lockdown. Businesses are struggling to stay afloat.
Our sales are being affected maybe 50%.
In a small grocery store, customer traffic has slowed to a trickle. Its owner, Emmanuel Muchinganu, has been sitting with unsold stock for weeks.
Before the lockdown, things were good. It's now quiet. As you can see, there are no people who are getting in and out buying. Not that people are afraid, no. But for no money, nothing is happening. And I'm just shocked if I'm going to be like what I used to be.
A lorry rolls up outside Emmanuel's shop. It's a government roadshow to warn of the dangers of COVID-19. Zimbabwe seems to be winning on that front at least. Cases currently remain below 800, but an increasingly toxic combination of a political and economic fallout may prove more dangerous than the COVID pandemic could ever be.
Chinga Nyoka reporting from Harare.
Newsday, BBC World Service. Thank you for joining us. Lawrence and Claire with you. Let's go to France now. The country's newly appointed Prime Minister is expected to name his government later today. He's Jean Castex. He is the mayor of a small town in southeastern France, and he was in charge of managing France's emergence from the lockdown. So why has President Macron made this change? Why now? Pierre Hasky is a French journalist, and he joins us. Welcome to Newsday. So why now, Pierre?
Because there are two reasons. One is obviously COVID-19, the big economic and social